It is now 6:31, May 16th, 2013. I guess I will call the Newfane Selectboard meeting to order. John Mack has other obligations, so I've been chosen to be the special one to lead the meeting, and I can hardly wait. I'd like to welcome everybody here. There's not many people here. I guess the first order of business is the minutes of April 18th. Who wants to go through that?
I sent people copies with comments on them, and so do you want to go comment by comment, or do you want to?
Apparently, we probably might just as well, yes.
Need a motion.
Why do we need a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes before you start discussing.
We had tabled.
They did approve them, seconded it,
Okay.
and then they're gonna
Okay.
table it last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
No, we didn't approve these minutes, so the way that this. Anyway, first one was just simple, and maybe I can just ask the rest of the board if it's just something simple like a spelling.
Then I think we should just go over it. I mean, just
Okay, but is that okay to just go into Pat and say,
as long as it's a grammar error,
yeah, just spelling and those kinds of things.
it's fine with me. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks. But
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I just don't.
yeah.
Okay, isn't Phil Savoy's name with a OY and not an OI? So that's just,
Gunther may know,
yeah, he just shook his head.
so
On the third comment, I have down, it's not a cell system, it's a cell tower, so we just need the word tower after the word cell. And then in comment number 4, where it reads, wants to use money from a preservation fund to be used. So we just need to delete the to be used, because I want to use the money to pay the assistant town clerk.
So you're just saying delete the to be used.
Correct.
Hmm.
And then it seems to me that this whole section, because I was an unscheduled member of the public, and I had packets given to everybody, that the summary of the discussion, it would be nice to reflect the research that the town clerk did. I went through VLCT, I went through, and I've listed them there. And the comment that the town clerk was over budget by 153% is inaccurate. It would be that I was running at 153%, but only 53%, and that really wasn't part of my presentation. It was just one comment placed in by Chris during the whole thing. So it just seems to me that it should reflect what the town clerk said.
When does the board want to do that one? I don't really think it changes anything.
Well, it doesn't give, if all people can do is to see these minutes, it doesn't reflect the discussion of the minutes. Of the...
So, I don't know if you're aware that I also went down through these comments, and those will be in what was given to you today,
the pink responses.
underneath your meeting agenda. Yeah, okay. So, if you look at comment C7, what I've done, Gloria, is this is an idea. Gloria Costello recused herself as a select board member and spoke to the board as a town clerk, which that actually factually should go in there.
Mm-hmm.
An information packet was presented to the board.
Right.
What could happen is that information packet could be attached to the minutes of the meeting. I don't think we need to go through and add
Right.
all that stuff. So my suggestion is on C7.
Mm-hmm. Is to just do that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I did not receive any of that packet information last.
I know you didn't.
I handed.
It was just given to the board member. I don't think she got one.
No.
Well, if you didn't, I had enough, and I remembered to. Okay.
Can you make sure she gets it?
Yeah. Okay, so that covers that, and I think that's a really good way of doing that, Chris. 6 was already done. So, with number 6, yours is comment 6 after. What I have of comment 6 is that if we're including that in there, that needs to be just 53%, because 153 is not accurate.
Right.
You got that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the Marlboro Morse Ale Association, the town of Newfane, the select board does not give permission to use the common itself. If we went back to the Marlboro Ale Association letter, it was asking for the closing of West Street. It's the side judges who do the common.
Get that one.
So, yeah.
Instead
Say
of
that
common.
one, yeah.
Why don't we just try to see if we can, instead of rehashing the whole thing, just put the proper, for
At
example, at West Street is what needs to be
Right.
put in
West-
there.
Right. to use West Street,
Right,
and that's going to be closed off, right? And
yes.
I went last time. Okay, number 8. How did you respond to that, Chris?
Remove properly.
Yeah,
You can
and then I
just,
think it just
it takes care of it.
takes care of it.
You get that one right?
I really don't remember as a select board that we requested the administrative assistant to look into information on the fireproof.
Yes.
We did.
We did.
It
because
is
we wanted a
accurate
person-
as-
That is accurate.
It is,
Okay.
very much.
And then number 10. I believe on the park, there was confusion last time, and Christine asked me on that. When I made the report, it was that we were to go ahead. I asked Todd and said we need to go ahead with the park and ride grant, which Pat said she had a copy of that file. So it really was for me and Pat to work together on the park and ride. And certainly here I put in that for economic development of Newfane, we've got to look into public rest facilities.
So you'll see that I said leave as originally written. Part of the reason is that there's two separate things. The public rest facilities can incorporate, but the park and ride grant stays as it is as a whole. In other words, that grant to do it needs to be done as it was written. So what I was afraid of there is it's creating a lot of confusion. You understand what I mean?
No.
The park and ride grant has already been granted. It is what it is. It's set out. Both Todd and Mike are handling that as far as the measurements and so on.
Now
So the bus stop should be, in other words, then we go to bus stop. So you got the park and ride, we're going to do the parking lot. Once we get that done, we would like to also have this as some mechanism of facility for a bus stop. Okay? And the reason I want to make sure that it's clear is because until they get into the park and ride, we don't know what we have for spaces that are going to be required and how much room they'll come out with to be able to make that facility happen.
And Chris, I understand that, but with this report, and there's no indication of it, I said that I would work, and I did a report at the last meeting on the park and ride, and it was at that point that Mike said something, and Todd, so it wasn't this meeting. It was
Right, correct.
this last meeting
That's right.
where they came on board.
Mm-hmm.
So just to put in there that Newfane needs the park and ride.
Okay, so let me just say this, okay, Gloria? The minutes are supposed to reflect what we were speaking at the meeting. So it is correct. Transportation meeting report. You reported on the meeting that you attended at Grace Cottage. John asked if there was some action that was requested of the select board from this report. Gloria stated that she feels that Newfane needs public rest facilities and to include a bus stop. John requested that the project needs research.
I think if we go back and listen to the minutes, that I said first we need the park and ride,
Okay.
and that this tied in later that, for economic development, we need rest facilities. So I think that for me, I would prefer to have us just go back and listen to that, unless you did. Because that's not my memory of what
Well,
I
I
said.
understand, but the point is the minutes are going to reflect what we were talking about, and you were doing a report on the bus stop. So we did talk about the park and ride moving ahead.
I understand, but the park and ride was to become a bus stop. In other words, when I talked to them at Grace Cottage, we said if we got the park and ride facility, that maybe they could then just come in and pick people up. So the first part was the park and ride. We already have a grant for that. And Pat said, I've got the information on that. And we said that we would work together on it. So that's what I remember.
Okay. Well, I also know that John said more research. So I think probably what we need to do is why don't we put that, however you want to amend this to note that, but we need to bring that up at issue, again.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any knowledge of
and
all
we've
this.
and we've just got to, I'll go back and pinpoint where it is on the meeting, and then we can just listen to that. Because if that's the way I said it, then that is the way I said it. I just don't remember saying it that way. Okay, then posting the audit. So my comment 11 was in with that, asked if I would continue to look into the park and ride grant, and Pat and I were to do that. So 12. We could just leave that, sometimes I think it's good to track as to the person who's agreed to do that, so I agreed to do that, and I did do that in terms of posting it on the website. If we just say that it's going to be posted, then it stays outside and doesn't get done. That's that one. Any comment that you made, Chris? Or?
I just had it leave as written.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Who or what requires that Todd review the scope of work?
Specifically, you could add that Chris, that was my comment at that meeting. I asked that Todd Lawley specifically review the scope of work on that, on those Wiswall Hill culverts.
And then the matching percentage, you brought up, Chris, that the town could possibly do the in-kind work to offset the 25% on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So that would give us at least a starting point with doing that. Hickey Bridge, Todd, I don't remember what that meant for Todd Manise to get more involved.
Because FEMA was refusing to do it the way we felt it should be done,
Mm-hmm.
and he would not issue, A&R would not issue a permit
Okay.
until that was resolved. And we did resolve that after this meeting when Chris and I met with him. It's all resolved now. But that's what I meant, was to have Todd and these push for us on that. So
And you contacted him, or Chris?
Yeah,
You?
we both did.
Yeah. Okay.
He was here.
Yeah, he's done a few days ago. Okay, so that takes that one, and then just need to delete the word "the" for number 17, number 18, I feel that the emphasis that John finally stated was that the combination for the vault is under the purview of the town clerk. And I certainly agree that, you know, the emphasis, state statute only says that the select board has to have a vault. It has no other rule. It's the availability of the documents. So if that could be put in there, that would be helpful. Number 19 was, just because it's a letter. And executive session, what time did we go into the executive session? You've got a time coming out, but we don't have a time going in.
Yeah, I did write it down. I believe it was 8:35.
Okay.
So you can add that to it.
And then finally, just wording of that, the it's to await the health officer in regards to health issues. It's just easier.
Or regarding,
Yeah,
so,
either.
Get that.
and Hunter would be last.
So it is Hunterbrook on the very last one.
We
Okay.
do have Baker Brook Bridge, but it wasn't important.
So back up on the town vault, you'll see my comment on there. So the whole genesis of the meeting was that John had read the statutes and he was reading an opinion of the Secretary of State.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly can put the combination lock in there, but I think it would be important to also add that John was referring to information received by VLCT, and another point was that no action was taken by the board. It was a discussion.
Okay, and that's
So
what
we're
I
all set with
had.
that now.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess we need a motion from somebody to approve the minutes with the changes that we just listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Is there a
with the
second?
changes.
Do you want to second that?
Second.
Been a motion made and seconded to approve the, what was this, April 18th, 2013 minutes.
I just have a question, Todd. Point of order, can Mike move that? He wasn't here at that meeting.
Hmm.
He
Making a
can't.
motion on the current
No.
action,
Or,
I would say. He's making a motion on what you just did.
That's what we just did.
That's
Right.
true,
Okay.
actually, yes.
but then he can't vote for the final. Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
I
Those opposed or abstaining? The ayes have it. Now, May 2nd minutes. Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
so moved.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of May 2nd, 2013. Is there any discussion?
I have things, but I hope others have.
Are they mostly grammatical
No.
errors? Well, let's do them now.
Okay. Phyllis Mandel was not present last meeting. I can't imagine that she would come down without Joe. But we just want to check that out.
I'll have to check the.
Yeah, because it just seems, it would be very odd. Okay, in terms of the minutes, there was a motion made, and then it was seconded by Todd. If I didn't move to table the minutes, then when we get down to the very end, the only motion that would have carried was to accept the minutes. So how should we word that?
It does say the motion will be tabled until the next,
Yeah.
select board meeting, May 16th, though.
Wasn't it an amendment of the original motion, though?
No,
Or was it a separate motion?
I thought I moved to
Okay.
have it tabled,
Okay.
and I don't see that. I know that you suggested, and that's what I did, was to send them to the select board members. But the question that I would have is,
You think it was the motion instead of just suggesting it?
well,
What
if
you're
it,
saying?
yeah, and if it wasn't just the suggestion, I mean, don't we have to have a motion to table something? No. We could certainly leave it that way, but the very last line then would have to be changed. Because the only motion that's on the table is to accept the minutes.
So we just put down, it was,
Just,
the motion was, there actually, the minutes were tabled.
yeah, that would take care of that one.
See what
The
that is?
minutes
readily.
will be tabled.
You know, where it says motion carried, just
Yeah.
put down, scratch that out and put the,
Just put a note, acceptance
Minutes will
of
be-
minutes,
yeah.
will be tabled.
And then, under the reconciliation, do we need to put in the word check in front of signer, second to the last line? Because if it's just a signer, does that mean anything? I mean, it would mean something to us, but.
Leave it. I think that's what was said, actually.
Just along with a signer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question on the second paragraph is when it says not a NEMRIC report, but she's certainly going to give us monthly revenues and expenditures, right? And that's a NEMRIC report.
Well, he specifically said he did not want a NEMRIC report, so I wrote what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that part, but I don't know that he didn't, that we don't want the expenditures. And so you can just leave that, I think.
Yeah, somewhere I don't know where was it the meeting? I thought I saw where he had requested the bank accounts. Did I read that or am I crazy?
I thought it was a bit later.
Maybe.
He wanted the balances of each account.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's in that same paragraph, just a little bit before it, same sentence.
Right, so I think it differentiates it. I think that he said what he said and we leave it like that.
Yeah, so, but he's not saying we don't want the revenue and the expenditure reports.
No, he's not.
Okay. Page 2 of mine anyway, spelling of Nancy Reese. It's a strange R-Y-S, Ree. It's just a different spelling. And then, under old business, it just says the Oak Hill access regarding the construction and maintenance of the fence. Should we clarify, the fence that's at the end of the, or are we assuming that any reader of this would know what that fence was?
I don't see any problem with leaving it just the way it is, because it's, otherwise you gotta try to figure out how many, is it halfway through or is it 3/4 way through that road and nobody seems to know yet.
That's blocking.
Look, I think one of the points here is we can't be writing a novel. The object here is to try to get the factual,
Summary.
a summary of what we're talking about, so that if the reader wanted more information or wanted to go to BCTV and take a look at this or something like that, but we're not going to write out the entire synopsis of it. And I think that the discussion was about the fence.
Yeah.
But noting, there's a fair discussion in terms of the Williamsville restoration, which people can get away. There's a fair discussion of the town office improvements. So to me, that's clear to somebody who can't get to BCTV and can't. But that's
There's a
not-
reference here on the Oak Hill from a letter of William Statch, which also is something that you can't attach there either. So that would give additional information to someone who is interested in that particular topic.
Yeah, they can. Okay. 12 Beach Street Lane. A letter was received from the town health officer, sent a report on his site visit. Wasn't it just a report was sent? The health officer sent a report on his site visit? Because you got a letter was received and then the health officer sent.
Well, a letter was received from the health officer of a report on his site visit.
Are you on an
12
older
Peachtree
copy?
Lane.
I gave everyone copies
Right.
of
But-
things because that were in your mailbox. Todd's reading the most up to date because I found errors doing this quickly. Errors on grammar.
Now, and that's good, but when did we receive the new ones?
Well, I just put them in the mailbox tonight so that we
So
could
if-
use.
It is corrected anyway, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to be looking at minutes, I need to look at the minutes that we're going to approve. So I would need to have them before a couple minutes before the meeting. Okay, so maybe that's been. And again, when it comes down to the park and ride grant, Gloria reported, I said that we were missing iron markers out there, that there's a distance from the WW building, and suddenly it comes in here, and the result of that, yes, Mike and Todd plan to measure the parking lot. But it doesn't seem to be a summary of a report or even an acknowledgement of a report that I had done.
So can we just put a statement in at the beginning before Mike and Todd that says Gloria made a report with regard to the park and ride grant?
Yep. And then can somebody tell me under other issues what floor reports mean, or is that?
It's just flood. You just need to check the
Oh, okay.
R to the D.
Page 3.
You see that?
Yeah.
Right here.
Isn't that funny, because I got fixated on the South Newfane School.
Under other business.
And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That's it?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as amended.
Seconded?
That's correct.
A motion has been made to approve the minutes of May 2nd as amended.
Hadn't we already done that before we went into the discussion? Pat, didn't we
Yeah,
already
we
have a
did.
motion?
I
Oh, did we?
didn't.
Yeah, we.
Did we?
Because then we went into discussion.
I think I moved to accept them,
Okay.
because we shouldn't have had all that discussion.
And I've got Mike Fitzpatrick seconding.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the May 2nd, 2013 minutes with corrections signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining?
I think we should arrange for dramatic readings of the minutes.
Road business, road forms, road commissioners report. As far as the roads go, most of the roads have been graded now, and most of them are in pretty good shape. We're still grading almost every day. We're still hauling gravel as well. We've been around with backhoe cleaning culverts and ditches, and we've also been cleaning off the bridges. And Newbrook Fire Department has started cleaning the bridges. There's only 3 more to go. Equipment, Nortrack's been down, worked on the 672, which is a grader. It had quite a skipping problem and no power, and they think they resolved it. I hope they have. We have steam cleaned all the trucks now, and all the plow frames with the exception of the 90 Mac are off. The only reason we left the 90 Mac on it so that the others could see the truck bed. Culvert inventory. John and I met with Jeff Nugent and Sarah from Wyndham Regional. John Snow actually went out with Sarah all day on Tuesday to mark all the culverts. We are redoing the entire town again so that we can get it up to date. And the reason we're doing that is we've had 2 floods since we started the culvert inventory. We got quite a ways behind, and they said that a lot of the towns after Irene are in the same boat that we are in. So we're going to redo the whole thing basically. It should take about 7 days to get it complete. They started on Adams Hill, and they've actually got done with Stratton Hill. So the culverts so far are looking pretty good, which is good news. They're in good shape and they're clean, and they were surprised actually how good they really were. So that is good news. If you remember at the last meeting, I was asked to look at the sidewalk at the Williamsville Hall. I went over to the hall, looked at the sidewalk leading up to the steps of the hall, couldn't find any problems. So then I went across the street and looked at the old sidewalk, and that was not bad either. So then I asked John just if he could take a quick look at it so that somebody could point this out. He couldn't find anything wrong with it either, so as of right now, everything seems to be fine over there. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask the Waynesville Hall Committee next time they're here if they can show us what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Roadside mowing, I did call Dover and I asked them if they've had any problems with Andy Rockwell. They said they're very happy with his work, so I had Pat send him a letter just stating that he has the job and he needs to get a hold of me. He did try to get a hold of me, and he will be getting a hold of me sometime next week. River Road Bridge, we removed the runner planks off that bridge. They're pretty bad. Some of them were missing, some of them were sticking up, so we swept it off and washed it off with a New Works truck. And Monday we'll be putting down all new runners on that bridge. Green Up Day, we had a total of 80 bags of trash and 8 tires. This year, Wyndham Solid Waste is charging the town $3 per tire, so we have that expense. And the bags of trash are down quite a bit from last year. I'm not sure what the total last year was, but we had a big truck and a small truck, and this year we only had 2 little trucks worth. So, Christopher wanted me to bring up that he's had complaints about the lilac trees on Landenberger's property, starting to interfere with Dover Road, that they're planting too close to the road. So I'm just bringing that up. I don't know if we need any action at this point or what the board wants to do with that, but that's all I have for that.
Is that a safety issue in terms of, I don't know where
What property is
Landenberger's
that?
home is.
Landenberger's, right across, well, kind of almost across from Walter Phelps.
Okay.
They are planted right within a couple feet of the edge of the road. I don't know when she planted them. I guess I spaced that out.
Probably years ago.
I'll look at it again and see what Christopher wants to do with it, but he just wanted to be brought up, so I brought it up.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion one way or the other on the road foreman's report.
I move to accept the road foreman's report.
Second.
The motion's been made to approve the road foreman's report, seconded. Is there any discussion?
Is Wiswall Hill Bridge one of the 3 not done?
Yep.
Okay. And is South Newfane Fire Department doing,
I think they've started, but I didn't talk to Steve to see how many they've got done.
yeah, because yesterday we were up at the Stratton Hill, right, Benedetto's, and that was
Yeah.
kind of thick with,
The town might show that one off.
yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the road foreman's report, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and I will abstain. So there's 3 yes and 1 abstention. Scheduled members of the public, I don't see any. Unless somebody else sees them, but I don't. Unscheduled members of the public,
I have one I'd like to introduce on camera and see if we can find her home. Here, Darian.
The cat. That's what we needed. Animals in the house.
We're all in this little beast has adopted the office, and she was found out by the recycle bins, and the kids played with her, and then she came, because I was afraid of the road, she came in. So I've been taking her home. We've had her since a week ago Wednesday. We call her Wadley. She had a flea collar on. And so if anybody knows where she belongs, I'm taking her home again this weekend. But
no. You contacted the Humane Society,
I-
Sheriff's Department, State Police, all those.
I haven't
George.
I did George, and I stopped at the Humane Society and they said nobody's even reported a cat.
You might
I
just
put up pictures.
Might just want to call Sheriff's Department, State Police, just to see if somebody
Okay.
called.
And she would like to come and
She
just
likes you.
sit.
Yeah, there you
She'll
go.
sit right on your paperwork.
She probably wouldn't like this much at home.
All those in favor of Gloria taking the cat home, say aye.
Aye.
Would you like me to put her back in the office?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Okay, good idea.
Come on, sweetheart. Come on, love.
Is she the unscheduled member of the public?
yeah, this was the unscheduled one.
Heather, Gunther, did you have, or do you want to wait till, are you listed here somewhere?
Yes, he is. He is. Town office improvements.
Oh, you have to wait that long?
Yeah.
That's good. Guess we're down to truck bid openings.
There we go.
Just
Right
those
in front of
three.
you, Mike.
Do you need something? Oh, you got it, Mike? Good, good.
No, no. Todd will open them all. The chairman opens them.
Oh, anybody open?
So is that working in here?
Hmm?
Will that have working in here?
I don't know. They don't see it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to spill that all over the place, do we? This one is from McDivitt Trucks Inc., which is a Mack. Yeah, give you some numbers here if I can find it.
Who's that from?
Mack, Manchester Mack.
Is that our letter? That's our letter, Todd.
Yeah, so he must have something somewhere else here. Must be this one. Maybe they're giving it away. Alright, total price of the truck without trade is $152,959.21. Trade allowance for our 90 Mack all-wheel drive is $16,500, which gives him a total of $136,955. That's without the body.
It's
Okay.
a truck without the body.
Oh,
Go a lot better without the body. Now somewhere he must have Tenco or somebody's bid in here. Where, I don't know though. Maybe Tenco's just gonna, you just gonna give it to us?
Donate.
Donate would be good.
Get that on camera.
Where is that?
Does he, where would he have that on there? Cause he doesn't have it.
What's he got, the plow and everything included on it then?
Yeah, it was all as a bid package. Cause we make out a lot better that way. When they,
To the towards the end.
I'm worried about it. You know where you would have put that in there, Greg?
No, I didn't see the packet. I emailed it to him, so. Sure.
That's weird.
No, we
What's
look.
he got the price on it? That's just a truck.
Yeah.
Two terabytes.
Alright, wait a minute, we're right here. Let's get exceptions down.
Let's see if they don't get price, it's free.
I'm sure he's out here somewhere, just don't know where. It's really strange. You see it anywhere? I don't see it.
Waddle's supposed to come
Alright,
There you go.
there's two prices from Tenco, the first being $61,535, and the second alternate would be $57,555.
out. And what makes that kind of difference?
Just stuff that we probably didn't put in the bid that we might want, that we may have left out of the bid. Can you elaborate
Yeah,
on that?
the 57 is as per the spec, and the 62 or 61
61,
has had some added high tensile steel and some different things like that for you to consider.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's just a,
So that's that one.
so, if we go
Oh,
54, still gonna come out under what we budgeted.
So it's 153, 455, and then 61, 535 from Tenco, or 57, 555 was exactly what we spec'd in.
And then we
Back
have
where we're getting mixed up.
136, 955.21 plus 57, well, that's pretty easy. 194, 510.
So the one is also from, we did it, but it's on a Volvo truck. Basically the same outfit, but different truck.
The other one is a Mac.
The other one is a Max, yeah. Where did I find all that before? Really nice to go right back to that again.
Imagine they put it in a different place for you this time.
Of course. I'm hunt through it again. Be nice if they just put a cover page on this.
Put a flag of some sort to say this is your sign here. Look here.
Alright, this is for a Volvo truck from New Hampshire Volvo. Without trade, it's 163, 474, 62. With the trade, it's 146, 974, 62. Now I gotta try to figure out the Tenco stuff is in. I like how they hide stuff.
and then I'll drive forward.
Yeah. Yep. Tenco is 57,555. And option number 1, Vermont DOT LED light bar system, add another $900. So that would be the difference on the two of them anyway, right? Yeah. So both of them, Tenco's the only one that's bid on so far. It's just, this Fairfield isn't on their business anymore. Alright, we got through two of them in less than an hour.
What was I doing? 163,
This is from Patriot, and it's on a Western Star. Following enclosed is truck specs, submit all specs with quotes. Tenco also did another quote, included in the paperwork. Patriot's proposed price on the 2004 Western Star cabin chassis is $130,500. Tenco's quote was $57,555 for a total price of $188,055 minus $16,500. So the total will be $171,555. That was the only three bids that I see.
Let's get to this
What we normally do, and if it's alright with the board, we usually take this back to the garage, or I usually take them back to the garage and study them, make sure they meet spec, and try to figure out what's the best fit for the town and why. And we have a special board meeting next Thursday, the 23rd, and I would make a recommendation to the select board at that time of which truck I felt would be the right choice for the town. So if that's what the board would like to do,
I move that we have Todd take the specs or the bids and check them according to the specs and report back to the select board at its special meeting on May 23rd.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to have myself take these truck bids back to the garage and go over them and go over the specs that we've written up to make sure they all meet specs and make a recommendation to the board on the 23rd of May. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed or abstaining, I will abstain from that if you'd like.
Why?
Tent was the only one that bid, so I'm assuming that you'll probably get the bid, but I wanna look it over first, make sure everything's there.
Yep, absolutely.
Good, thanks for coming.
You won't be offended if I leave?
That's fine,
Okay,
you can go if you want.
thank you.
Thanks.
You sure you don't take a cat?
I got 2 dogs, I don't think.
You can drop it off on the way,
Good dog.
What's that?
you can drop it off on the way.
The garage?
Well, somebody's house,
No, okay.
it has kids out in front of it.
Thank you.
Brattleboro Development posting discussion and decision, what is, anybody know what this is?
That was, John received it and they're looking to have us post this May 21st, learn about village revitalization.
With our postings,
It's this one right here.
but post it with our stuff, right? Where we post
Yeah,
from?
yeah, for the town.
What
Did
is
they
it?
want that put up on the website?
It didn't say, just town posting.
Right.
We could. Is
And we
something
can
the
do
board
that.
wants to do?
Yeah, I think, or at least we need to get it to the like village and people who are involved in village, for example, the Distelbergs and the whole Newfane Village trustees.
You don't want to give that to?
Hmm?
You don't want to give that to? Or are we just gonna post it, let them look at it by us posting it?
Well, if it's okay with the board, I could, we had this whole discussion on economic development, and it would seem to me that this would fill in, and I could just get a copy to the businesses that I sent it to
Sure.
before. So that's the 21st, that's next,
Yeah, it's coming right up.
yeah.
So we're all in agreement, let Gloria,
Let Gloria pass it out.
Take care of
Yeah.
it. so Gloria will take care of it. Now, Oak Hill Road access, update decision, Merle and I were gonna meet, he's trying to get a hold of somebody from the state 911 board, and I don't know if we got hold of anybody there yet to come down. Town office improvements,
Well, can we go back to the Oak Hill access? Because Merle wasn't gonna be here tonight, he just wrote me one paragraph to read out loud. The purpose, we propose that we rename the road that begins at Parish Hill Road and ends at the fence. The 4 houses on this stretch will have to be renumbered. The spur, which comes across from Miller Lane, will then become the beginning of Oak Hill Road. The house numbers on Oak Hill can remain the same. No action is necessary on Miller Lane.
so in other words, he's gonna take care of it, basically, is that what he's saying?
We can assign it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Well, it was the other thing too of, he was gonna ask, wasn't he, the
He's
people?
supposed to get a hold of the association, he was supposed to meet with them.
From the minutes that we did last
Yeah.
time.
So can you just put a note on there to ask him to meet with the head of the association? Go over that, if he needs help, somebody just let us know.
Okay.
Anybody got any other thing with that? You all set with that?
All set.
Town office improvements, Mr. Gunther Garvey,
All
you
right,
have the floor.
thank you. The emergency repair was completed by Chris Parker the other day, Friday. He came at 6:30, and by the time the office would have been open, Pat didn't even see himself. He was in
He
and
was
out.
fast.
It was a quickie. $650. There'll be a bill coming, and I guess
Morning.
Maureen will get it.
Just let her know what it's for.
Okay.
What did he do?
And then
He brought in beans.
we're looking to find the blueprints for the extension. And unless Gloria knows where it is, for $100 we can find it and have copies made. So we're asking the select board to authorize us to spend $100 to locate and duplicate the blueprints for the extension.
You don't need really need a motion because it's under $2,000, so
Okay.
unless you want a motion in the file, it's up
Well,
to you.
It's in information,
Mhm.
so
Now, the
we'll
only
treat it as such.
We authorize
Yeah.
them to,
You
Go
authorize
ahead
us to
with-
spend $2,000 for the
Mhm.
engineer.
Mhm.
Make this part of it.
Well, it might be cleaner to just.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that you get a copy of those plans and spend the $100
Okay.
to get those.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded to get a copy of the plans of the addition in for the cost of $100. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? The ayes have it.
Okay, we've heard from Phil Savoy, the engineer, and he will prepare a package of specifications for bidding for us for $800, and if we want, he will then act to review the bids for $200.
Mhm.
So since we have permission to spend $2,000 already, this is merely a report.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we were passing around the conversation, possibly developing a questionnaire for current and past employees, officers, to see what their thoughts are regarding this building. Future needs, current needs, and how possibly to proceed. So we basically informing the select board and or ask permission to develop a questionnaire and have conversations with people regarding
It's a great idea.
said thing.
Will we proceed in terms of what Phil Savoy is going to develop as specs? That's for the replacement of the sills and
That's
the
for the
work down.
total repair, including eventually the ducts.
Okay, because I really want to see that go forward and not wait for.
Yeah.
Has anybody talked about putting a bulkhead in here? So that we can gain access to that cellar a lot easier?
Yeah, they're talking about doing a cutout on the north side. When we vent that, make a larger cutout, not a full door,
Right.
but a space so you can get into that space from the outside.
It'd be a lot easier if you had to pump it out or you have to get in there and work or
Right.
something like that. You
Right.
get a number of materials and you can actually shoot your stonework down in there if you're going to fill that cistern in.
Right.
So,
So we're working in stages. Stage 1 is done. The building will no longer fall apart. Stage 2 will be the total repair of the understructure.
Yeah.
Stage 3 will most likely be the ventilation in the building. Stage 4 most likely will be the windows. Apparently, whoever insulated the upstairs covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is no ventilation
Right.
upstairs, and that all has to be reopened. It'll be a
step by step.
step by step, and we do only have $40,000 collectively, so we have to go slow and then hit them hard next budget.
Anybody got any questions or thoughts for Gunther while he's here?
Yeah, I want to say thank you for all your hard work and for the other members of your team there. We really appreciate it.
We're having fun.
Good.
Were
Too
you
many
able to
nights
find
works.
anybody else to add to the?
We're kind of not looking since we're an advisory committee and we don't take votes, so we don't need an odd number. But if anybody wants to come
No,
along, hey,
I
come
just
along and
remember
have
John.
fun with us, gossip with us. Like if you want to come in, don't have enough to do, come on in.
Thanks, Gunther.
Okay.
Anything else on that? Moving along, the planning commission open position discussion.
I sent, that's for the DRB, is that for the
No, you
No,
got
planning
one.
commission,
Planning commission.
okay, that's Tristan Johnson, I was in touch with him, and I'm gonna read you the email that he sent to me. He made contact with Patricia, and that's the person that wanted to be on the commission, planning commission. Her last name is Weisbrick. And she begged off for a week or more before dedicating time to come to the meeting to be interviewed and to allow the planning commission a chance to determine if she could be a positive new member. It says, I finally got back in touch with her yesterday on the 22nd. Now she's agreed to send her CV, and I'm not sure what that is.
It's sort of like a resume.
Okay.
Curriculum vitae.
And to come to our next meeting on May 13th. We are not going to hold a special meeting just to interview her, so we will not have an informed opinion until the 13th. We now have her CV, and she told me she has had no experience but is interested. I passed that on to the members of the committee, of the plan committee. I hope this works. We are nearly finished with editing the bylaws, etc. So that's where Tristan's at. He's
So he's
working
gonna
with
update
her.
us when he,
He'll update us,
Yeah.
right?
anybody got anything to add to that?
I was just thinking, you know, if she doesn't have experience, but she's got the interest, I think that's 99%. Usually somebody will come in and just really learn.
Moving forward,
Okay, that's just to let you know where that one is.
the next thing is the DRB alternate opening.
Okay, and Pete Van Loon emailed me, and he also called. He said that that person is the spouse, the husband to Patricia, and he wanted to do the DRB alternate. And it says, as I suggested, the DRB has no part in appointment of new members. As a quasi
Was they?
judicial
Judicial.
body, it would not be appropriate for the board to do so. This is different from the planning commission responsibility, which is to nominate new members after going through whatever process it has in place for interviewing candidates. And then he said, when he called me, he said, this person, Al, does know the process because he applied to the DRB a year ago. So he does know the process.
So they're looking for us to
Appoint. I think.
appoint? Is that what they're looking
Yes, yes.
for? Anybody want to make a motion? What is the guy's name?
His name is Al Weisbrick,
How do you spell
And
the
it's-
Weisbrick?
and it is Weisbrich. They reside at 22 Rock River Terrace in Newfane. And I have the telephone number too.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that if the DRB would like to select Al as the alternate, that they have the permission to do that from this board.
You better state his full name,
Weisbrick.
Al Weisbrick.
so we have it in motion.
Okay.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Al Weisberg to the,
Yeah, see, that her motion was
My m-
different from, so
Yes.
I think it needs to be.
go ahead.
Do we need a direct appointment, or do they get to appoint?
That's what Pete was saying, is
I'll
that we
read-
need to directly appoint.
I will remand my motion and correct it to, we will appoint
Al Weisberg
Al Weisberg
to the DRB.
to the DRB as an alternate.
Mike seconded that? You still
Okay.
seconding that? Motion has been made and seconded to
That was my
appoint Al
puzzle.
Weisberg to the DRB
As an alternate.
as an alternate. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
I
Anybody opposed or abstaining? The ayes have it.
I will send a letter to Al.
Yep.
And,
And one to the DRB.
yes.
And just a question, Pat, did you forward that information that I sent to John about Gary DeLuis, who wanted to be on one of those boards?
I did, but I haven't heard anything back.
Okay, that's all, because there's a possibility of another person wanting to be on
HMGP closeouts update.
That's Christine.
We're moving along. The appraisals are done. We've sent those to BEM for approval, and I'm hoping within the next week that we'll be meeting with the property owners again, and we'll move to the next phase. So it's slow, but it is coming along.
So you're all set with that, basically? Don't need anything from the board?
No, not at the moment.
Anybody got anything to add to that? 279 Dover Road, Loma, update.
No update yet. I'm still waiting.
Huh?
I'm still waiting patiently. I did get an email from the FEMA Loma division where the repackaged information was sent. I think it was yesterday or the day before, to just advise me what I'd known a month before, that they received the package for my tracking order, but their computers were down for over 2 weeks and they're just working on it now.
Blame it on the computer.
So I'm patiently waiting.
So no further action at this point.
Not yet.
Mike, do you know what the LOMA, the difference between that and the hazardous mitigation grant?
No.
So, Chris, do you want to?
The LOMA is a letter of map amendment. We're sending documentation to FEMA, to a specific division, to have them review a survey, to put this property in, to verify it's in a floodplain and that the property itself qualifies for an HMGP buyout.
So it's basically the Fresnel, the Gold
Yeah.
House property.
Yeah. So, hazard mitigation grant program is HMGP. Okay. So, the terminology gets worse as we get further into this.
Alright. FEMA and Bridges update. Chris and I met with FEMA, V-Trans, who else?
Todd Manise was there, right?
A&R.
A&R,
Yeah.
VEM, which is really Mary Andy's office.
SVE.
SVE,
Emergency.
this is true.
Yeah.
First we went over the the first Hunter Brook Bridge. I believe we got it approved to go full length of that bridge without having to fill the river in. They've agreed to that. The one hitch to it all is FEMA is blocking it going 18 feet wide.
The width, yeah.
They want it to go back to 14 feet. They want us to put it out to bid 18 feet wide, and Mary
Andes.
Andes is going to try to push them into the 18 feet wide. If not, we got to reduce it back down to 14 feet.
Now, your first statement was they wanted us to put it out to bid at 18 feet
Yes.
wide.
Correct. Push it. In other words,
You
see if
mean
the
Andes wanted us to do that?
Right. And we will
She's gonna try to push it.
present it to FEMA, and she'll push for us to get that done. And the reason we wanted it 18 feet wide is for access on and off the bridge
Yeah.
with plow equipment without hitting the rail all the time. So she said she doesn't know if she can get that done, but she's going to try to get that done for us. Then we moved on to Hickey Road Bridge and had quite a discussion there about what FEMA wanted and what A&R wants. And we think we've come up with a plan there. We've been paid for that. So they recommended doing some of what FEMA wants, doing some of what A&R wants to get this thing done. She said, get it out to bid, get it done. You guys, you've got to get it done. Because you can't keep screwing around with it. So I think we've got a plan there.
As though you are. It's-
That will go out to bid fairly soon for that work. Then we went to Hunter Brook Bridge number 2 and explained to her that there was a big mix-up with Christina about how they what needed to be done there. So she looked through her paperwork, and her paperwork, scope of the work, said from FEMA to replace that deck and the railings like we've been saying, but they were only going to give us $15,000 for it. She said that's obviously a mistake on their part. Put the thing out to bid, get the prices, get 2 prices, one on a timber deck bridge and one on a precast concrete deck. Give that to them, but she said again, get moving on this, stop sitting on it, they need it, so we're going to do that one right off. Then we went down to the Lynch Bridge, and they're going to go the full 130 feet
They are.
on that bridge, but 14 feet wide. because there's not gonna be any problem if we give up that road, especially.
Yeah.
But there's quite a amount of gravel in the way to get that started. So Todd Benese wants that removed.
Yeah.
We have to get somebody in there with a crusher to crush it. So what we're planning on doing is taking that part of the project and Hickey Road project, combining those two.
Into one.
'Cause there's some really big stone in there that he said we could put up to Hickey Road Bridge. So that has to go out to bid fairly soon as well. Again, she's pushing us to get on with this, get going. You're gonna lose your money if you don't get going with this. So, but I was pretty encouraged with the whole thing.
Very encouraged. Yeah. Good.
I don't know if you've got any more to add, Chris. There's probably something I left out, but Chris and I got to get together and go through the scope of work, get these bids put together.
That's what we're gonna settle on now. So we're gonna have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wiswall will be 6. There'll be I think 6 bids ready to go. I'm hoping we wrap those up by the early part of next week.
Yeah, we should be able to, and it'll be
So-
everybody meet at the site so that we don't have people putting stuff in, other people putting different stuff in. We'll have a pre-bid
Yeah.
in each one of these
Site.
sites. So
The abutments that are sitting in the river are going to have to come out with part of that, right?
the temporary abutments have to come out. The Lynch Bridge abutment has
Yeah,
to come
those are the ones.
out. We cut one of the little, is that tree that you said to cut was only about this big around?
It was small.
That's the one we cut.
Good. As you're coming right across the temporary, it should be dead in front of you there.
I've got to go look again because Maureen said that there's 2 trees that were marked there, and I don't know what the other one is.
Okay.
We cut the real small one, but she said she thinks there's another one. So I'll have to go look.
Okay. Just
No,
so you.
they've got to move the pole so that when they take the temporary, when they put the new bridge in, they're going to run cranes back.
So they're going to run the line now on this side, and the object here is from this pole to the pole that's headed up Holcomb Road. That temporary line needs to go across here, and the tree that was in the way should be opposite, almost the entrance of that bridge. They just
All
got to,
I'll look again.
yeah.
She did tell SVE to get moving with the Lynch Bridge to stop procrastinating, basically.
Twiddling their
They
thumbs.
want them moving on that. She made it very clear, and I think Peter Bomex was aware of that anyways, but she just said, your priority right now is get the stuff moving, because you're going to lose your money if you don't. She said FEMA's not going to play games with you all the time, so we're working on that.
Yeah, it's hardly as though we've been playing games, but I
Right.
know that.
No, but she's just
But
saying.
now that you've got somebody who can push it,
So we're going to be meeting next Thursday specifically on a special meeting to open up the Hunter Brook bids, and I anticipate that'll go pretty well.
You're going to invite SVE.
SVE will be here. Peter definitely will be here, and we'll take that and roll with it. And I would suspect that before we get to the 4th of July, we're going to have a lot of work. We may have a couple other special meetings because of these bids, till we can get them all into
She
place.
expects the Hunter Brook Bridge to get done this season.
It will.
oh, it's gotta. I mean,
And she's hoping that
$3,000
Lynch Bridge will
a
at least
month.
get started
Yes,
during this
absolutely.
work
Well, I
season,
don't
because we're
worry
going to be in the
about
river
it.
so long.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that seems to be pretty encouraging to me.
good.
Uh,
Thanks, Chris, for pulling all of those people together.
Has anybody else got anything? Moving along, NIMRIC ready only.
I think
You're
that should be
Oh,
read
yeah,
over.
read
Vacation
only,
as well.
sorry.
Read only, sorry.
I said, I think we're going to all be a vacation for this all over the town.
Oh, I'll
As much
take
time
one.
as you put into it.
Yeah.
He's got a motorhome you can take.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
I tell you what, you put a lot of time into it,
Yeah.
sure.
It is really
NIMRIC read only update. Who's got that update?
Do you want me to do the update on
Sure.
that?
Yes.
I don't know that so much about it, but that we do have read-only access. Read-only basically means we can look at reports, but we cannot amend them anyway, which is exactly correct. Okay, you don't want to amend anything. That's the treasurer's job. So John has a password. I believe Pat has a password, but it's very limited to what you can do
Right.
at the moment. As soon as John kind of gets back into to gear in the next week or two. I'm hoping that those reports will be useful to get us geared toward finishing off the flood work that we're trying to do and get us ready to close the books for June 30th. Do another round.
I'd kind of like to recommend that John keeps that password, and if somebody needs to get in, that they see him, it gets written down
Yeah,
when,
that's-
where, what time, and all that stuff, so that if we run into problems, we know what's going on there.
Who's logged in?
Right. And if John gives somebody permission to have Pat let him in, the same thing goes, that Todd Lawley wanted to be, and went into this at a certain time, what the date was.
Yeah.
So,
That's,
kind of keep
that's
track of it.
a good idea. Do we need a motion for that, or we're just going to let John know that?
Maybe we should just let John know that,
Okay.
if he wants to update it, he can.
Yeah, that's good.
If I feel he's the one that should have it, and, if somebody needs it, then go see him.
Exactly. Okay.
Anybody else get in here?
Notice Mike Granger was here for that discussion, and he commented how rigid Maureen was against accepting anything or doing anything that was asked of her.
Yeah, I didn't perceive that so much. I think that it's very hard when John just kind of bombards and we don't have a chance to clarify some things. For example, just that he wanted these bank reports, but he kept going and they were crossing understandings. But then if one of us, namely me, would try to clarify, then I was told I couldn't say anything until after. So I'm not sure, but that kind of bombardment makes it appear more like that. But anyway, it's up and running.
Any other comments about that? Then we are on to password on Merle's computer, discussion and decision.
Okay, I can give you a little update on what that's about. Merle has a couple of times changed his password on the computer at the zoning administrator's computer. And he gave me a little paragraph here as to why he did that, and I'll read it. I have changed the password on this computer because I have had a problem with some of the settings on the machine being modified while I am not here. Even though I back up every day, I work in the office and it is better to protect the files by having a secure password. Pat has a copy of my logins and password. I did copy John on this so that he would know. I sent him an email that Monday I had Merle's computer up and running at 9 a.m. for Elaine to use because she does the payroll here on Mondays. She had everything she needed on that NEMREC system to do her payroll and do any reconciliation if she so desired to do that. While this was going on, Dan from the Two Wired guys was here, and he was installing Gloria's computer. Dan explained that he could install a program that would allow up to 3 different passwords per computer at a cost of $47. That's his hourly rate. And Dan also stated that Gloria's old computer will be installed within about approximately 10 days into Maureen's area, and that's going to be used by Elaine, but not until Gloria is comfortable with her new computer and gives the okay that she's all set with it, and then Dan will connect that computer. So it's just
So for
a
him,
week. So right now I can get his computer up and running.
it's only gonna be for a week.
It's only about another
Well,
week.
it may be because the town clerk's tower is going to go down to the assistant town clerk and the assistant town clerk's tower. So there's got to be but I'm taking that tower over tomorrow, and sometime next week they should be starting to, within a week or a week and a half, to get that process. They have to do a pre-run over at their office.
And Elaine is on vacation anyway right now for approximately a week, so.
So it should work out. If we have a problem, you just bring it to John.
Okay,
At that point, I would say to get the 3 passwords that they're talking about being able to put on it, and Lane would have her own password,
Yeah,
if it becomes a problem.
okay,
Because you stated in there, you said you could put up to 3 passwords on that computer.
right.
So if it becomes a problem, then I would just check out with John that that's probably the thing to do, is put the 3 passwords on there. She'd have one of her own, so.
Okay.
because it really has always been a shared computer since the time I took office. So since the zoning administrator's only here for 10 hours or 8 hours a week, then certainly Elaine, whoever's been helping out, has always been using that computer, and then anybody else who had some projects have gone onto it. So that would have been a concern of mine. I think the week before that, he had changed it and hadn't given you, it was last week, he had given you the password, and Elaine came in and she couldn't get on. And that was, you know, that's a concern because she's here to do the payroll.
We got it straightened out now, I guess, for now.
Okay, so we'll call the 2-eyed guys back in.
I think,
The 2-eyed guy to come in to install the 3 password.
Well, it's up to the board. I think as long as you can give it to Elaine for now and it works, fine. If you have a problem, then
Okay.
get a hold of John and suggest to John
Okay.
the 3. But as long as it's working right now, I'd leave it alone. Because then we're not spending more money on it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words, if for some reason it's gonna be a lot longer than a week, and for some reason you don't have to be here on a Monday, we can get the 3 names put in, 3 passwords put in there, we'll be all set with it. So
yeah,
that's my, you guys agree with that, or?
yeah,
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Williamsville Hall broken walkway assessment, we already talked about that, we can't figure out what the problem is, so we'll go to unfinished business.
Can I do 2 old businesses that didn't get on?
Yeah,
Park and Ride, did you 2 get any measuring done?
not yet.
Because, again, I think the sooner we can, and then you said it, part of it's dependent too on our paving bid.
Yeah, I gotta get the paving bids right out too, so Mike and I'll meet like Monday or whenever's good for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And- And then in terms of the grubbings, I got a report from Mark Pickering today that it's going to take 2,800 cubic yards, that he's going to do all of the paperwork in terms of the, because it comes from federal highway money, and he said they're easier to work with and the money comes through a lot more quickly than FEMA. But he knows, he says it's going to be like a 60-page document with all of the Davis laws or whatever, the minimum wage and blah, blah. So he will get back to me with basically paperwork ready.
What's the match on that?
That's the 25%, but he didn't obviously give me any, he didn't have the dollar figure.
I see, we're gonna have to figure that one out then.
And in terms of in-kind, however those logistics work, but I would think with you and the crew able to do some of that work, there's got to be some
Right.
trade-off. And so that's going through, and then the last emergency watershed protection, we did a site visit, and the contractors have until the 28th at 5 p.m. It's a 2-component bid, putting in a new septic design, as well as the wall at 51 Stratton Hill Road. And so that should be the last one of those projects 2 years later.
Anything else under old business?
I got some old business that's not old business. One thing, the garden club does not remove shrubbery, they only weed and maintain grounds. So those 2 bushes have to be pulled out by somebody with a spade. And the town hall committee would like somehow to have this thing disappear. Not him, the vault. It doesn't fit through doors.
The thing to do would probably be to get a hold of a moving company and get an estimate on
Yeah.
removal.
But I mean, once the beam is repaired, it no longer will affect the floor, but still, it ought to be out of here.
Yeah.
You guys should probably get a hold of a moving company and just have them give us an estimate on how they best plan on getting that out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a good antique. You know.
Does it have any salvage value because of the
I don't think
steel?
so. The last,
I think it's got some salvage value myself.
it's got a lot of steel on it.
That's
but
right.
You don't know how much asbestos might
See,
be in
yeah,
there.
we'd have to find out an asbestos.
So if you can move it as a total piece,
I see.
nobody cares. But if you have to split it,
How'd they get it in there?
We
I
figured
think they did it when they had to put the addition on, probably that
Must
wall
have.
wasn't there and they put it in here. I say take a chainsaw and cut it right around there and that'd be good for the
Floor.
cistern downstairs, put it right in there.
Could we have you call Dick's Lock Repair and see if they could give us information on that safe so that we
He
would know?
told us when he worked
Okay.
on that lock, he said, you won't be able to give that safe.
No, that's not it, but what material's in it?
Oh,
Yes.
what's in it?
The-
Yes.
Is it asbestos lined?
Because if it's not and it's got any
Okay,
salvage
I'll call.
value, then we want to know that.
To move it, you might be able to get somebody to move it
For the
just for the salvage.
exactly.
Okay.
How
Right.
wide's them windows?
Not
Wider
wide
than the
enough,
door,
Mike.
huh?
If we took two together, maybe.
You
Lay
get
down
on one
side.
side and sit on the other.
But it's something
Yeah.
a moving company's gonna have to move. That thing is too heavy for anybody else to try to take out of here.
Yeah.
Well, I do have somebody who does a lot of salvage, but he came and looked at it and he was going to get back to me because, you know, you think if it doesn't have the asbestos, then maybe with certain protection they could use a sawzall or something to cut pieces of it or whatnot, but
It'll be a diamond
Yeah.
blade. I think by the time you got that one, Saw's also gonna cut it.
that's good hoping.
I'll call.
Gunther,
Yeah.
can you tell me, were you reporting from the executive committee of the garden club?
no, I was just, Elsie said that they want us to take out those invasive shrubs. Says Garden Club doesn't do that.
No,
So
and
this is a private
No.
observation.
but I talked to Alice
Yeah.
Freeman to ask if it was okay for us to take those out because Chris Campany is saying, and it's true, they're an invasive species. So if we're going to be doing work on there, let's get rid of those and get some mature plantings. So I wasn't asking them to do that.
Not
Right.
would be good. Bunch of nice and green.
Yes.
What are you playing, pot?
Knotweed.
Not we.
Oh, knotweed. Oh, yeah,
Japanese
that
knotweed.
stuff is great.
But anyway, so they apparently are okay that we take it out. Alice just didn't get back to me on that.
Anything else on their old new business?
You still don't let the cat? Oh.
Yeah, you let the cat out. I don't really care where the cat goes. Unfinished business. I'm assuming we just unfinished it with Gunther. Correspondence.
The only thing that we have is the Regional Energy Roundtable in Bellas Falls, Wednesday, May 29th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Bellas Falls Lower Theater. And if anybody is interested, I have the flyer, and I think I made copies for you all. Okay.
Did any? I know that Ed Druick Sr. said he no longer wanted to be our energy person, and we haven't.
We have a new person, and
We
I
do?
sent this to them, and they are going to attend.
Who's?
Don Preen
That's him.
on Newfane Hill.
So, how did that come up? And did I just miss the discussion? Or?
He attended. a
He
meeting.
attended one of our meetings, and then the board asked that we make contact with him, and
Okay.
Pat did do that, and he agreed to take on that position.
That's great because it's great.
Okay.
Thank you, Gunther.
Night all.
Thank
Night.
you.
Night.
We are down to pay orders.
I didn't sign myself in or anything.